So welcome to this second cafe for introducing Poli Hack Days, which will be held by the end of this week. My name is Giuseppe Tipaldo, and I'm a sociologist, associate professor at the Darwin department here at the Politecnico di Torino. And I'm really delighted to introduce today's discussions. Let's say before we move into the core of the event, I'd like just to extend a very special thank you to the Politecnico di Torino and its leadership, all the speakers and you as participants, and all the offices involved, the people involved into the organization of the Poli Hack Days, which is our very first and I dare to say also at the national level, the first event of its kind. So again, thank you to the institution and to all the people involved to make it possible. Today, our speakers who are leaders in their respective fields of research and activities will share some unique insights. We will have 2 rounds and each speaker will have more or less 5 to 6 minutes to try and briefly draw a sketch, a glimpse, provide us with a glimpse of some insights from their very personal and professional experience. And due to an unforeseen commitment, Davide Maserai, who is among the speakers, needs to leave early. So this is the main reason I will hear from him first before he has to depart, and I will ask him 2 questions in a row so that when he has to, he will be able to leave the floor. So let's turn to Davide, who is an expert in engineering and digital infrastructure, with a focus on innovation in both the private and the public sectors. So as his works breach the gap between technological development and industrial applications, I would firstly start asking him about Davide, your experience. So what would you say is one of the most impactful digital innovations you have overseen? And let me add, how has it shaped industrial practices? So thank you, Davide, for your presence here, and
thank you.
the floor is yours for about 5 to 6 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Professor. So I want to think, is it possible to speak in Italian, or for me the same? Yeah.
You can speak in Italian. We will try to translate your contribution anyway. Thank you.
Okay, so I speak in Italian language very, very, very slow. Grazie, grazie per l'invito, grazie al Politecnico per insomma aver pensato anche al mondo delle infrastrutture, e trovo molto diciamo eccitante, ecco, questa iniziativa. dove in maniera molto smart si può andare diciamo così, a parlare e fondamentalmente a portare le proprie esperienze nell'ambito di tematiche oggi sempre più all'avanguardia. Nell'ambito dell'ingegneria civile, la mia company si occupa di ingegneria civile, in particolar modo, diciamo così, di infrastrutture. Infrastrutture è un mondo molto allargato, che ci possono essere diversi tipi di infrastrutture, anche le infrastrutture tecnologiche sono infrastrutture. Noi ci occupiamo di infrastrutture stradali, quali ponti, viadotti e strade ed autostrade. Quindi ci occupiamo di quello che è il design, no, di questi oggetti. Da diversi anni, anche un po' per la mia, diciamo così, il mio passato al Politecnico di Torino come PhD e postdoc, abbiamo introdotto in azienda diciamo una componente fortemente tecnologica di ingegneria. In che cosa si traduce oggi questa componente tecnologica di ingegneria e di, appunto, come mi ha chiesto anche il professore, di digital innovation? Si traduce uno su tutti in quella che oggi è molto chiacchierata, però nell'usare in maniera intelligente, ecco, però l'intelligenza artificiale, no? Sotto diversi aspetti. Oggi si parla molto nell'ingegneria civile, nell'architettura anche, che noi non facciamo, però sono campi insomma un po' confratelli. Si parla molto di BIM, noi diciamo che cerchiamo di andare un po' oltre. L'artificial intelligence la usiamo in diversi settori del nostro, diciamo così, del nostro campo di azione. La usiamo in quello che è il monitoraggio strutturale di infrastrutture, quindi andare fondamentalmente a capire e a, diciamo così, e a percepire lo stato di salute delle nostre infrastrutture. Come dico sempre io, il monitoraggio strutturale è un po' quel check, no, medico che tutti noi dovremmo fare più o meno annualmente, no, tramite gli esami del sangue, tramite delle piccole radiografie, insomma, no? Quindi che ci mappa un po' lo stato di salute delle nostre infrastrutture. Ecco, nell'ambito del monitoraggio infrastrutturale usiamo tutti i giorni, quotidianamente, degli script fatti handmade in azienda, sviluppati dai nostri ragazzi, che sfruttano proprio degli algoritmi di intelligenza artificiale per andare poi a proiettare dei dati e fondamentalmente a capire come la struttura sta evolvendo nel suo ciclo di vita. Un'altra applicazione, diciamo, di quella che è l'intelligenza artificiale applicata in un'altra maniera è quello che è tutto il mondo del parametric design, introdotto appunto nell'ingegneria strutturale sempre. Quindi andare fondamentalmente diciamo a rendere tramite, diciamo, la scritturazione di script sempre fatti handmade, a rendere, diciamo, ciclico il percorso della progettazione. Quindi con l'introduzione di alcuni dati di input, fondamentalmente, diciamo, io ho l'algoritmo che va a sia ottimizzare, diciamo, il processo di design e fondamentalmente a renderlo anche molto più veloce, perché riesco ad esempio anche solo e banalmente a livello geometrico a cambiare, diciamo, forma proprio e le caratteristiche geometriche dei miei ponti, dei miei viadotti in tempo veramente quasi diciamo fulmineo. Sto cercando di, diciamo,
ecco, ne approfitto, Davide, visto che il tempo per la prima domanda, diciamo, è fondamentalmente esaurito, ma mi aggancerei a questi primi contenuti che ci hai fornito per introdurre la seconda domanda, dal momento che quando faremo il secondo round, come ho anticipato, tu non potrai esserci, quindi il tuo caso è un'eccezione. Passo immediatamente anche a una seconda domanda che si lega molto a questo aspetto della introduzione di tecnologie di deep learning e intelligenza artificiale applicata al mestiere della società per cui lavori, e proverei a proiettare questi elementi sullo sfondo del lavoro che i ragazzi e le ragazze faranno a partire da venerdì pomeriggio, cioè il tentativo di partecipare a un evento di innovazione che è anche una competizione. Ecco, sulla base di quello che ci stavi dicendo, ma in maniera più estesa anche della tua esperienza professionale, come sfrutteresti i prossimi 5-6 minuti per provare a riassumere una serie di indicazioni, di consigli, di visioni strategiche, in particolare in termini di fattibilità pratica, di traduzione quindi empirica, di prototipazione dell'idea che magari alcuni team proveranno a elaborare
Ma
nei
secondo,
settori di cui tu ti occupi, ecco.
secondo me è un elemento molto sfidante, diciamo più che elemento, diciamo così, un tema molto sfidante che noi ad esempio stiamo provando ad entrare a fare proprio diciamo in questi mesi, siamo proprio agli albori, è fondamentalmente quella che io ho parlato prima è fondamentalmente quella di provare a usare l'intelligenza artificiale in modo generativo. No? Generativo cosa vuol dire? Vuol dire che se fino adesso abbiamo cercato di usarla nell'ambito del design in maniera, cioè per ottimizzare, no? Cioè quindi facciamo un esempio, io ho quella che è una beam, una trave, cerco di ottimizzare ad esempio la sua altezza, la sua larghezza in termini geometrici e di materiale impiegato, e quella, diciamo, posso sempre fare degli algoritmi di intelligenza artificiale per ottimizzare questi elementi. Ecco, un modo che stiamo cercando di, diciamo così, cioè una via sulla quale stiamo cercando di addentrarci è quella di generare delle soluzioni di calcolo, cioè quindi creare una banca dati aziendale dove io ho fatto generare n modelli di calcolo che mi producono quindi n output, milioni di output, in modo tale che quando, diciamo così, arriva la data struttura, il dato viadotto, il dato ponte, con quei dati di input, l'algoritmo in maniera intelligente va a, diciamo, selezionare dalla banca dati che ci siamo creati a monte, no? la soluzione ottimale per quella configurazione di materiale, geometrica, di calchi e tanti altri, diciamo così. Quindi, dicevo, entriamo nell'ambito dell'intelligenza artificiale generativa perché questo processo deve prima appunto generare banca dati, deve generare dei dati, quindi generare dei dati come si dice sintetici, no? Perché derivano non da un progetto ma quasi da un esercizio di calcolo, no? Che ovviamente dovrà fare un calcolatore, ma sarà un esercizio di calcolo fatto milioni di volte facendo variare tanti parametri. Ci generiamo quindi una banca dati dalla quale poi il mio algoritmo intelligentemente andrà a prendere la soluzione migliore. No? Quindi questo secondo me nell'ingegneria civile, ecco, questo passaggio non c'è ancora. Mi permetto di dire che anche le cose che ho raccontato prima non ci sono ancora. Noi cerchiamo, non sto dicendo che siamo più avanti degli altri, no, è una frase troppo forte. Cerchiamo di andare avanti, però. Cioè, cerchiamo di andare avanti in quella che è la nostra esperienza. Noi, la nostra esperienza arriva fino a quello che ho parlato prima, no? E proviamo ad andare, diciamo così, oltre. il mondo dell'informatica, ad esempio, che è già nel mondo dell'informatica e già nel mondo dell'AI generativa già da tanto tempo, no? Noi siamo un po' un settore un po' più indietro. Però questo, ad esempio, proietterebbe veramente, sarebbe cioè un progetto veramente pionieristico, perché a oggi, diciamo, non c'è ancora nessuno che è arrivato a fondamentalmente a così tanto, no? Quindi questo spero di essere stato nei tempi, di essere stato
Assolutamente
il più
sì,
possibile chiaro.
lo apprezzo moltissimo, Davide, ti ringrazio ancora per aver dedicato del tempo
Io
e
ringrazio voi e grazie professore, ti do del tu Maxi, molto giovane, per aver accolto anche la richiesta che te l'ho
ci
fatta anche
mancherebbe.
ultimo, e ringrazio anche gli altri relatori se ho dovuto mettere la freccia, ma perché ho purtroppo un'altra cosa che è arrivata
Certo.
senza, ahimè, preavviso.
Non c'è problema, grazie ancora per essere stato con noi e un caro saluto e a presto. I will now move back to
Spero di
English.
incontrarvi presto, grazie mille.
I will now go back to English, and we have been speaking about artificial intelligence. So let's move to Professor Barbara Caputo, who is full professor in computer engineering at the Politecnico di Torino, and among many other things, director of the Horizon 2020 project, AI for EU. Her expertise in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and computer vision has led to groundbreaking work on autonomous systems and ethical AI. So, Barbara, thank you for being here with us. Your work in AI is pioneering in the field of autonomous systems. And can you tell us about, let me say, a recent breakthrough from your research and how it might impact AI's interaction with real world environments? Thank you, Barbara, again, and you have the floor.
Hi, Giuseppe. Thank you for the very nice introduction. To begin with, well, thanks really for having me, and many apologizes. I keep switching on the camera and then Teams keeps switching it off. I know, I guess that must been installed some AI stuff that clearly is too autonomous or intelligent or whatever it is. So guys, just let's pretend it's a podcast and we just move on. So in my academic career, I guess this year is 25 years. Gosh, I'm old. It's official. And I've always been fascinated by the two sides of the story. From one side, I'm a modeler. I really like modeling, designing algorithms, really crafting new stuff. So the mathematical aspects of this research. But then the other side of me is very practical. I need to know, does it really work? Writing a paper and running experiments on a benchmark, it just doesn't cut it, right? I mean, I need the thrill to know if this thing is really crap in reality. And for me, for a very big part of my life, academic life, it has been going on robotics. And when, there's a very deep difference in developing stuff for computer vision, which is what I started to do in my PhD. And when you take these things and you put that into it's iron, right? It's hardware, it's very hard. And they do the most incredible things, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But for me, that has always been the thrill. And in the last 5 years, the thrill of robotics has been pushed towards the thrill of innovation and market. So I have started more and more to serve as an expert in advisory boards for companies. I started to serve in the board of directors of national and international companies. And then when my first two PhD students here at Polytechnic of Turin graduated, they started talking about doing a startup. And at that time in the lab, we were challenging very much the current paradigm of huge, monstrously huge AI, right? We ChatGPT and all the large language models and generative AI They are massive, monstrous algorithms that requires months and months of training, and leading to convergence. These beasts is an art by itself. They require computational resources, energetic resources that we just can't imagine, and that they will never cut off for autonomous agents. How do you put this stuff on a robot? How do you put this stuff on a drone, on a satellite? It just, you cannot really think of have everything running on a cloud computer somewhere and rely on, wireless connection. You will never have perception action loops that can really act and interact in the world. So we started over the last 5-7 years to work on how to make these things lean, how to make it smaller, how to make it runnable on edge devices. And at a certain point, because I like, and my research group as a commerce, they're so kind that they, they're patient with my obsessions, and it's like if I'm, I'm the old auntie, and say, okay, Barbara, I want things like that, and let's do that. And then we started realizing, coming back to the modeling side, that you could think of the specifics of the hardware as conditions in your model. Something that when you want to optimize your algorithm, you put by design the type of hardware that you're going to use. It's topology, not something that arrives later on and then you have to take care of that. So we started having scientific results on that. And about at the time when these 2 PhD students graduated, we had very interesting results. We looked at each other and we said, you know what? We don't publish this. We patent this and we make a startup. So we made a startup. So at the ripe old age of 50, I started my new life as a startupper, which is fantastic. I should have done it before. But anyway, it's good that I started. We funded together with some other friends, also from business, Focus AI. 1 year later on, we won the national award as best Italian spin-off, best innovation spin-off. And we had the first funding, first investment, and we are going strong. Let me put it like this. We are really going strong.
Thank you so much for so many insightful ideas and personal and professional experiences in being so on schedule, or ahead of schedule, actually, of 1 minute. And so thank you again. We will.
And then they say that Italian women talk too much. You see?
And you're still fighting with the camera, but that's it. So thank you again. We will hear from Barbara again in round 2. Now let me please introduce Professor Cristian Campagnaro, who is full professor in design here at the Politecnico di Torino. His work focuses on sustainable design, environmental quality, and participatory processes. Cristian's research explores how, design can foster I would say social inclusion and improve the quality of life especially in marginalized communities with collaborative and interdisciplinary projects. So I think his professional experience is really at the core of the, I would say, philosophical perspective we all adopted in thinking of the Poli Hack Days. So, Cristian, thank you so much for being here with us today. And can you share, as the other speakers have already done, a project or a professional or academic path where design, you would say, significantly contributed to enhancing social inclusion, and what would you say has made the collaborative approach successful? Thank you again, and you got the floor.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure being here with other colleagues. So let me say that it's since in the last 10 years, 10, 11 years, I've been working in social justice, in social inclusion, and with this perspective, we explore also the topic of sustainability. We have seen and we have experienced how narrow is the relationship between the health, well-being, dignity, inclusion, justice, and the environmental quality and the access to resources. So all my experience in the last years are focused on poor and fragile and marginalized communities, just because they are least defended from climate change effects, from inequalities, from the shortcoming of welfare. So this is our mission, this is our purpose. About some experience, but maybe let's have a look to the project we carried out in the field of food social design and circular economy for food. All those projects, a lot of projects, and let me say successful projects, are based on inclusion, collaboration, co-design, and they work on only according to a multi-stakeholder and collaborative approach. So let me say some example, make some example. We designed in these years healthy diets or accessible food chains for people instead of homelessness. We work on color, flowers, mise en place to offer more dignified food experience to people with dysphagia. We design new food by reusing food products from the large-scale retail and secondary agri-industry sector. We teach new way of experience conscious food cooking, conscious food consumption, conscious food purchase. We designed canteens and social market for poor communities. We co-design eating devices for people with disability. We work with them. So in my experience, every project we carried out is based in and work only by bringing together different users, citizens, communities, stakeholder, policymaker, as well as funding bodies. Without them, without bringing together in the process, is impossible to succeed when we address complex social issues, complex social problems. So bringing together where? So we bring together people in design process, in testing and prototyping the design solution, in implementing and deliver those solution. So it's not a matter of design something together, but also make these things happen and work, and also in the monitoring. So in order to share the responsibility of successful or failure. So if we miss togetherness, the community, we fail the project. So togetherness, and also in our experience, a key posture was the participant one, the engaged one. We need, of course, cooperate as much as possible with the people, but also, in my experience, we need to stay in the place between the people that experience problem, where the things happen, in order to understand how they work, how we can change them, and where the problem manifests. So that's my perspective, my experience, of course, and I don't know, the thought I want to share with other colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being so sharp and clear. I strongly believe that what you said will be of an inspiration for all the participants to the Poli Hack Days, and we will hear from you in round 2 as well. And now let me welcome among us Professor Valentina Alice Cauda. She is an associate in nanotechnology at the Department of Applied Science and Technology. And how can I introduce her? I would say that her groundbreaking research mainly focuses on developing, as far as I was able to learn, on developing nanomaterials for drug delivery, particularly in cancer treatments. So, Valentina, your expertise in nanomedicine has led to significant advancements in drug delivery systems. Could you please share a recent discovery, something very impactful from your research that may help us highlight the potential of nanotechnology in cancer treatments? So you have, the floor is yours, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for first for inviting me. It's a pleasure to share here my experience, and I hope that it can be a little bit of inspiration for the younger researcher here, which has to formulate at the end of the day, well, at least at the end of the weekend, proposal. So, I work in the field of oncology since many years, already are more than 15 years. And what I noticed from the very beginning is that we have a lot of lack of knowledge. So I am by knowledge an engineer, but I studied a lot of chemistry, physics, material science, and I started to also to get profound introduction into biology. But of course, the problem we are trying to face, which is cancer, is actually very, very challenging and multifaceted. So in these years, when I started to work at Politecnico with an ERC starting grant, I tried to have as much as possible a multidisciplinary research group. Because, of course, if you want to tackle such a profound challenge, which almost there is a second death causes of worldwide, you really need to understand very well the problem. So this is something that the first message I want to send to the people who would like to maybe propose a project in this field, or in general something related to biomedical fields. So first of all, it is very necessary to understand the medical problem or the biological challenge, and then go on the technological solution, because the technology has to face the biology and the maybe also the clinical need, if we want that something arrive really to the patients, to the people that needs such kind of therapy or whatever diagnosis. Concerning the work we are performing at Politecnico, actually is very different on different, let's say, it's always on the cancer topic, but it's very differentiated on the different, let's say, topics. What we started working on hematological malignancies. So first of all, leukemia and other kind of lymphoma and myeloma pathologies. And then we are moving to gastrointestinal cancer, so cancer which are typically related to pancreas or colorectum and hepatic tissues. So these are very challenging tumors because they are deeply seated into the human body. Like the pancreas one is very difficult to reach the mass, the material, the tumor mass. And so we need to find a strategy which is able to somehow be safe as much as possible, safe by design, but also to kill the tumor cell and possibly also to re-educate the immune system in order to fight cancer thanks to the whole involvement of the human body. So as maybe not all of you are familiar to cancer pathologies, but the main problem is that once the cancer is in the organ, it starts somehow to suppress the immune surveillance of the immune system, and then it's like a circle that increment each other, and the tumor progresses and do metastasis, and then we know unfortunately what happens to the patients. So a very deep knowledge of what really happens in the clinics and in the human body is absolutely necessary, and a multifaceted approach trying to arrive to the cancer tissue and to also help the immune system to restore the surveillance, and also maybe to have some imaging facility or a diagnostic tool that can do some real-time monitoring the state of the disease and control the therapy, the outcome of the therapy step by step, maybe in a non-invasive way. It could be the possible way out for this dramatic pathology. So what we are doing is we are trying to work on biomimetics, which is something that recall the fact that we want to somehow disguise and mask our particles. We work with the nanoparticles in the sense that we are in the field of nanometers, hundreds of nanometers, but this is the right size to face with the cancer cells and the subcellular compartment. And we do drug delivery, but also more innovatively, we do deep tissue stimulation using acoustic waves, which try to activate our nanoparticles in a specific manner and in completely safe manner, hopefully, to induce a site-selective cancer death, sparing healthy cells. So these are somehow the trends that also not only of my lab, but also of the other scientists worldwide trying to face this pathology. So I don't know if I'm on time, if I'm too short, but I think I could talk about hours, so I don't want to.
It's happy to know I'm useless today, because you could be self-providing your speeches without my useless presence. But I'm a sociologist, so I'm quite used to to try and mimic the fact that maybe today we are less useful than in the past. I'm joking, of course, but thank you so much for being so on time and very impactful in your contribution. Now it's time to close this very first round with Tiziana Ciampolini. Tiziana, she's an expert in social innovation, and she focuses on different strategies for coping and also, I would say, combating social inequalities. So to foster social inclusion. Her work, so it's quite instrumental, I would say, in creating fair and equitable societies. So, Tiziana, you every day tackle some of the most challenging and complex societal issues. Your idea of innovating must be dealing with the fact that there is a kind of inertia in implementing technologies, and before, on top of technologies, visions of alternatives, more inclusive and appropriate alternatives. Can you give us some key initiatives you have been involved in that has successfully reduced these kind of problems like inequalities and so on and so forth. And what would you say made these initiatives quite effective? Thank you, Tiziana. You have the floor.
Thank you to you. Thank you for invitation. I hope to be useful with the insight I can give to young researchers in a few minutes on a topic so complex as inequality. First of all, something about me, because I'm social psychologist with a PhD in social economy. This information is useful to understand my transdisciplinary perspective. Throughout my 35 years career, I experimented, managed, and studied the relationship between institutional and community dimensions. I directed the Poverty and Resources Observatory of Caritas Piemonte and Valle d'Aosta for many years. And then I worked on building innovative policy against poverty for Caritas Europe. Now I direct SNODI, a Center of Action Research, and we work on design for social impact. And I collaborate with Professor Campagnaro, Professor Montagna on issue of design for social impact and transformative innovation. My main focus is on social and solidarity economy and community activation for achieving social impact outcomes. And when I talk about social impact, I mainly talking about of durability of project, their ability to leave a legacy among the people and community where they are implemented. Activating citizens is a crucial element in achieving sustainable development goals through innovative community processes. First of all, I would like to highlight the difference between social innovation and transformative innovation, which are related concepts, but with at least two major differences in objective it intends to achieve. Social innovation refers to new approaches, ideas, solutions, or practices that aim to solve social problems. Its goal is to address existing social challenges by improving people's quality of life. Transformative innovation is a type of innovation that goes beyond simply solving social problems, acting to bring about radical and systemic changes in society. It's a type of innovation oriented towards a profound and lasting transformation on social structures, norms, and practices. It's innovation that requires a long-term vision, involves actors at different levels, profit and not-profit actors, civil society, local institutions, and governments. And sorry for this long introduction, but a key initiative that I love very much for transformative innovation is the name is ELBA project, is a social economy training program. 5-year enterprise capacity development program in 7 Balkans countries for the development of a social and solidarity economy ecosystem capable of developing employment for vulnerable groups, Roma people, people with mental disease, people with disability, a project financed by International Caritas and then by European Commission. We created 80 new social enterprises in 5 years. And we created job opportunity for 400 people in the social enterprises. And we trained 50 social workers and 50 entrepreneurs to social economy skills. I accompanied the same process in Armenia. And the projects were effective because these projects, they realize a social economy, social enterprise and economy development fund, which made it possible to attract European funds and strategic partnership with founders and local NGO to ensure a greater economic stability for social enterprises and respond to the need of vulnerable segment of population with action to support their educational and social inclusion. This is my this is my first.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tiziana. So I think we can simply move to round two and hopefully have this time 5 or 10 minutes to share some conversation with the audience. So I will immediately go back to Professor Barbara Caputo, to whom I'd like to ask, Barbara, considering what you already said about the rapid and the gigantic dimension of the growth of what today we call artificial intelligence, and possibly all the generative artificial intelligence application and so on and so forth, do you think are the key ethical challenges that participants to hackathons like the one we are going to start in a few days should address when developing AI-driven solutions, especially in areas like autonomous systems and the fields you are keen on right now? Thank you again, Barbara. Here you go.
So the camera will do whatever it wants, and we don't mind about that. Let me put it like this. We all want this technology to be, of course, trustworthy. We shouldn't be paralyzed by that, right? It is something made by us, by humans, for humans. I would suggest in general to participants of the hackathon to focus on all the myriads of possibilities. To this end, I'm going to type here in the chat. So AZ16, go on, type this and go on this website, and you will see there is this periodic rankings of the 100 most popular apps of AI, of generative AI that are used around the world. And it's incredible how strong everything that has to do with creativity is going, you know, from text to video to speech to audio, music, etc. So the very first message I would like to give is rather than focusing on how to make ethical by construction foundational models, notable models on which, unless you work in one of those 5, 10 big tech companies, you do not really have any power on, because you know we just can't put our hands there. And even when it's open source, if one doesn't have the experience of actually building from scratch these models, it's extremely complicated to actually read this code. You know, everything could be there. So let's be clear, right? We have millions and millions and millions of lines of code. My very first suggestion is to do something that empower people with these applications. Going back to what you were saying about how this translates specifically in terms of embodied or embedded systems. Here is not much about ethics, I would say, but it's about safety. And safety has to do with something that is more technical, that it means a certification. So let me make an example. If we sell toys for kids, for infants, we must give some guarantees with respect to the coloring, whatever type of technique is used for coloring these toys. It should not be toxic, and there shouldn't be movable parts because otherwise there could be risk of chokings, etc., etc. And that means there's a process of certification. The very same process is actually defined for autonomous agents. So the very, the classic textbook example, we have an autonomous cars, self-driving cars, and then we want to equip that with some decision-making with AI. And we want to make sure that the car will stop at maximum n meters in a time at most of X milliseconds if it detects an obstacle, a moving person or an animal or something. All of this has to do with the safety integration levels, SIL, and there is an international certification for this, and there are codes. And the good, interesting news is that for AI, we are around SIL 2, but to put things on really moving objects interacting with people, we should arrive at level 4. As of today, nobody knows how to do that, and this has to do with being able to replicate results in experiments with a very fine details on control of the errors, of the statistical errors on the results, and it has to do with how resilient is the system, how many sensors, how robust the system is with respect to brakes, etc. So these are just two, little things that I want to put, and I hope this is going to help for the hackathon. But just, it's such an exciting time to do something with the AI. So many things are happening, so many resources are around, that I would say just have a lot of fun.
Thank you again, Barbara, for helping us frame. Also, let me say, the emotional and the spirit with which try to approach the event. And now that we have explored AI, let's return to design. So let's return to Christian. Christian, hackathon participants usually work under tight constraints. What do you think about the way they should be effectively integrating sustainable and socially inclusive design practices into the idea that we're going to pitch at the end on Saturday, at the end of the event?
Yes, I know we know that participatory approaches, collaborative approaches, bringing a lot of factor in the design process. It takes time, maybe two time that the one the participant have in the hackathon, but maybe there is another perspective from which look at the collaboration, social inclusion, social justice, and the defense of poor and marginalized people and communities. So is the one to look at the topic of the hackathon from the perspective of inclusion. So work on the topics considering integrating the concept of participation, inclusion, social justice as a part of the impact the participant can achieve with their project. So maybe we can consider that is, of course, a matter of designing, so how we can design new things in a collaborative way, but also we we can design new things, new services, new process, new everything we can design with this perspective. So make these things also collaborative, make the people to participate and have their responsibility, have their voice, have their role in the project that works. So maybe this can be the solution of a possible interpretation in this very tight time they have. So work on the participation and social inclusion as purpose, as impact, as impact integrated to the topic they are going to work. So maybe it could be a solution to address the challenge of inclusion and address also the other challenge of the topics the hackathon is going to propose. So that's could be a possibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian, for your tips. And I won't move very far away from this general topic. And so next, let's go back to Valentina. And Valentina, I will stay around what Christian has just said. Hackathons are made to focus on very quick and rapid ideation and matching up within peers in a team and try to collaborate. Given this kind of starting conditions, how do you think participants can integrate the expertise and the knowledge you hold within your multidisciplinary, I would say, discipline into their projects? If some team be wanting to tackle the nanotechnology field with health-related challenges?
Yes, so actually, I think that in general, looking at public health in general can be very much likely a multidisciplinary need and can be suitable for an hackathon. So looking at what are the major health priorities at present, and looking, there are really a lot, and maybe we can go from the problems of functioning and reactivity of the health systems, which have a lot of impact in the social field and the economical field. But also in the recent period, we have assisted to an increase of mental health crisis and abuse of substances, so drugs and so on. And this is also an important social problem that needs an approach from psychology to more technical fields. But also, if we look at poor income countries, malnutrition and food safety are urgent issues, water contaminations these are also the troubles that have to be faced on. And from a perspective of environment, climate changes and environmental pollution have also a profound impact on the health of people. So these also are topics that can be faced in an hackathon. But if we focus on nanotechnology, which is actually my field of expertise, all these above topics have not yet faced at all with nanotechnologies. And maybe this is not so straightforward. In contrast, other urgent issues like, of course, cancer already mentioned, and I will not talk about it again, but there are other pathologies like neurodegenerative diseases, infectious diseases. So let's think about the COVID-19 pandemic that we have fight 3 years ago, and that were somehow we rescued with nanotechnological vaccines against COVID. But also we have the problem of antibiotic resistance, and that we need to reinvent a way to fight infectious disease in this way. And all the what is related to regenerative medicine, tissue engineering for prostheses, for organ transplantation, wound healing. So these are all topics that needs to have a very multidisciplinary approach and can comprise nanomedicine, in general, biomedical nanotechnology, which can propose an effective solution. So, and saying this, we can really, so the people from the hackathon will be probably mainly engineers, or we have some biologists maybe in the audience. So, but engineer can really vary from knowledge. So, when facing, for example, a pathology, whatever it is, not only cancer, as said, we can go from very hard sciences, so applied like chemistry, material science, and physics, which form the ground basis of the rationale on which the solution can be thought about. But also we have to move to applied sciences, so informatics, data science, artificial intelligence, as we have heard, can offer a profound paradigm shift to solve the problem, or to, let's say, construct devices for whatever, monitoring a disease, diagnostic it, or an intervention. And software interface, we have started to work a bit on this with my startup, and a lot of fabrication techniques, from microfabrication to 3D printing, or in general advanced manufacturing, are really helpful if you want to produce an object or a device which have parts, electrical, mechanical, or even sensor parts, which needs to be interfaced and connected together. And we do not have to forget the social sciences. So having an idea of what are the social needs, what are the patients category, for example, what are the psychological needs of these people, and or having a knowledge of what is how the market is actually, what are maybe some business opportunity, and marketing capabilities. So I think this can give us, and can give to the participant to this hackathon, a more comprehensive overview. It's not just focus on the technological solution per se, but also having a multifaceted approach. Because in this way, things that have to be proposed can maybe become a really effective project. So I hope I can do some more specific example, but I think that this is something that participants should think about.
Well, thank you so much, Tiziana. But I think we will have time for maybe go a bit more in depth with some questions from the audience. But before doing that, let's conclude the second and final round with moving back to social innovation, thanks to Tiziana. Tiziana, the final question is about the challenges you foresee for teams participating in a hackathon, which would like to tackle social inequalities, and what are the main suggestions you would like to give to participants to be aware, first of all, and then to try and implement within their own idea some solutions or new perspectives about this. Thank you, Tiziana, very much for closing this final round of interaction. I don't hear Tiziana.
Mi sentite?
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, you were muted.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I try to say something in this short time. First of all, inequality is not just about income, but is a multi-dimensional phenomenon that affect access to services, education, housing, work, distribution of wealth. The other thing is inequality is also the product of political choices that do not take into account the right of the most fragile people. When we speak about transformative innovation processes, need a strong political will and spaces and opportunities to bring out the voices of the most vulnerable group. Empowerment and inclusion requires a combination of regulations and mechanisms that ensure the active participation of the most fragile people. And the importance of participatory process, as Professor Campagnaro said before. When we create participatory processes, public institutions become more effective, accountable, transparent. And I try to say some stimulus, in specific 2 stimulus, to look toward not only your hackathon, but also to look toward the 2030 goals. There will be 2 billion young people looking for work, the most important challenge for their life. The first challenges in a global economy require specialized skills, but education and training institutions find it difficult to prepare young people for the skills required by the labor market. So only with right investment policies and education programs, the younger population can contribute to the economic, social growth for their life context. Second stimulus. Central to progress is the development of digital systems capable of generating and analyzing public data at national and international level at the same time, that provide regular reports on progress toward the SDG indicators, but also regular reports for administration, for government. And it's so important, the contribution of a university as Politecnico. So open source and e-governance platform already developed and tasted by the private sector and civil society organization needed to be monitored, discovered, analyzed, and improved. Their use can reach minorities in remote geographic areas, can expand public service delivery, improve civic engagement, increase transparencies, help improve governmental responses to external shock and crisis, such as the use of digital technology in emergency response management. It's very short, my stimulus, but so important about the thing I see and experiment in the different part of Europe. And first of all, best wishes, not only for hackathon, but for your careers and as experimenters and researchers.
Thank you, Tiziana. Thank you very much. And your wishes, I think, are very well appreciated. Well, about 10 minutes are left. So we do have some time for comments, questions, and which might be general, so addressed to all the speakers, to the stage, or maybe very focused on some field of expertise. So you could decide whether to address them to everybody or to some of the speakers or to only one person. So I will now mute myself and wait for some raising hands, and in case some of you need to interact a bit, hopefully. Otherwise, in case no more questions are there, I would kindly ask to the speakers if they would want to add something, or we can conclude the cafe, wishing to everybody the best hackathon. Okay, so I don't see any other interaction or request. So thanks again to all the speakers and all the people involved, and to all of you. We will see you on Friday, and good luck to everybody. And we all wish you a pleasant evening and the best for the path of everybody here, the research, the young researchers, the junior researchers, as well as the professors and professionals who have kindly been available to share their knowledge with us today. So thanks again, and bye-bye.
Thank you, and good luck to the people participating.
Yes, good luck.
Hackathon.
Good luck to
luck.
everyone.
Amazing.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. Ciao.
Bye.